Bonjour, 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 and welcome or welcome back to the Waves of Your Soul. I am your humble French tarot reader, Marine, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different because we're going to be talking about a subject that I feel like I've not talked about a ton on my channel, and yet that's a big part of my card reading practice, and that is divination. Predictive reading, fortune telling, trying to peek through the veils of the future. This is what we're going to be looking at today. I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite oracle decks for divination. This is a video I've been asked a few times and I'm very happy to be finally doing it because of course we can use tarot decks for divination. It's a lot of fun, but today I wanted to share with you the oracle decks I use for that and kind of take things back to old school fortune telling, trying to look at what's gonna happen, trying to take peeks at potential future heads. I've got a ton of decks to share with you, some French decks, some English decks, so make yourself cozy. There's gonna be a lot to talk about. Before I get into it, I just want to talk very quickly about predictive reading, fortune telling types of reading are readings I personally love doing for myself and that I've done for others as well, like friends and stuff. It's always been enlightening, it's always been fun. Thanks to the cards, I've managed to predict my friend moving abroad on the other side of the world for work, which she never expected. I have seen pregnancy for friends, I have seen new love, but I've also had readings that didn't come to pass. And why is that? Because the future is not set in stone, and that is something I want to make sure to say in this video. Yes, cards are a great tool to look at what could happen. We are standing at the crossroad, and thanks to tarot, or in this case oracle decks, we are able to take a peek and see what would happen if we take the left door, the middle door, or the right door at the crossroad, right? However, we remain, of course, the leaders of our life. We remain the captains of our own ship. In that way, I don't believe the future is set in stone. Of course, we make our own choices. Of course, we lead the lives that we want. So in that way, the cards should never take away from your ability to make your own decisions, from your ability to feel empowered in your life. That being said, originally, cartomancy was used for fortune telling. First it was a game that used to be played, right? Like board games, but with cards. Then people took that and adapted the cards to be fortune telling tools, specifically in Europe. And so this is where the grand tradition of fortune telling comes from. Today I wanted to go back to that. Why fortune telling? Well, you could look at what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen when you go on this date, what's going to happen in the next episode of your favorite TV show, what would be the result of your interview at work. There's plenty of questions you could ask. Of course, again, you remain the leader of your own life, so I wouldn't encourage you to ask things that you don't want to know about, because you're gonna get the answers you ask. That's the key with predictive reading. Only ask what you truly want to know would be my advice. A nice way to hone your intuition, and it can be another way to develop your reading skills, right? So that's why I enjoy doing predictive readings, and whilst I am much more comfortable doing them for myself, they are still a skill as a reader I enjoy honing. It's a skill I enjoy like nurturing and getting better at, and I particularly enjoy using these decks for that. So I wanted to talk about these specific oracle decks that I love using for divination. If you enjoy this video, you can give it a thumbs up. It's a small gesture, but it really helps out. And in the description box, you're gonna find all the names of the decks I'm mentioning. If I'm being a good YouTuber, I'll put links. And you will also find other videos of mine you may want to check out, my other social media links, all of that good stuff. So check out the description box if you are unsure of what I'm talking about. So without further ado, let's look at my favorite oracle decks for divination / fortune telling / predictive reading. Let's go. Let me start this video by saying there's quite a few French oracle decks in this particular video because, well, first I'm French, if you couldn't tell by the froggy accent. Hi, bonjour. See, it's me, your friendly froggy tarot reader. Not only that, but French cartomancy in general, in terms of the history of our cartomancy culture, started very strongly with fortune telling. If you think about Madame Lenormand, if you think about Le Grand Étayat, if you think about l'Oracle de Béline, all of those are very famous systems and tools to try and predict the future, to try and do predictive readings, fortune telling readings, which is why I have quite a few French options, because it's something that's very important in our cartomancy culture. So let's start first with actually quick mentions, but obviously thinking about decks that you could use for doing fortune telling, looking at what's happening next, the week ahead, the months ahead, trying to peek at the veils of the future. Well, you could use a Lenormand, like a Petit Lenormand. I've just got the Ciro Marchetti here. This is a mass market deck. It's super well known, super famous. All of you have seen it. I won't spend too long showing it to you, but honestly, any Lenormand really is gonna be great. It's gonna be a great system for you to try and look at the energies of the future, try your hand at fortune telling. It's a system I'm getting more familiar with this year, and I've been having fun with it. My favorite way of using it so far has been to try and use it when I'm watching like reality TV, for example, which has like zero stakes, and yet is a super fun way to see if your predictions are coming true. Like, I don't know, you could look at, okay, let's say you're watching like Love is Blind, are they gonna get married? Are they gonna stay married? If you're watching Survivor, are they gonna vote for that person? Who's gonna get evicted next? There's all of those fun things you could ask. Watching reality TV, normal TV, movies, it's a fun way to practice your predictive readings for something that has no stake, but just the purpose of fun and the purpose of like honing your skill as a reader and just having fun with your card. Another great system for that is Le Grand Lenormand. We had Le Petit Lenormand, which all of you English speakers just called Lenormand in general. When we also have Le Grand Lenormand, which is another system. Neither of these were designed by Mademoiselle Lenormand. She just was attributed a lot of decks after she died, but she didn't actually use any of these. She was using just your stereotypical cartomancy deck, actually. That's always something that makes me laugh. However, the Grand Lenormand as a system is also a great one for predictive reading, fortune telling. The one I have is a revisit of the historical one. It's by Mademoiselle Audrina. This is a mass market deck. I'll leave the link below. You can get it on Amazon. And it's a reinterpretation of the traditional historical Grand Lenormand. You will have the traditional cartomancy here on the top left. On the top right you have some geometric figures and some letters. In the middle you have scenes that relate to mythological figures and the Trojan Wars, etc. There's a whole category. I mean, this is not going to be a video explaining the Grand Lenormand, but just to give you a quick overview, you have constellation, you have the main facet here, which is usually adapted to from mythological figure. In the middle you always have plants, and then on each side you always have a little vignette, which depending on where your cards land, you would read either the left one or the right one. And this is again a great one for looking at the energies of the week ahead, the months ahead. It's another system I'm getting more familiar with this year. What I've been doing is I've been pulling a card every week and learning about what's going on in the cards, because there's a lot. Some of them even have talisman here, which can bring good luck. There's a whole stuff here. There's so much. This is a very in-depth type of system that requires a lot of study, but it's really interesting. And for looking at the energies, especially like week ahead, like I was saying, for me it's been great. I am definitely not comfortable reading with this without the guidebook or without my whole notes yet, but I've been enjoying getting to know it more. The thing is, with predictive readings, we are not here talking about self-help, self-development and all of that. No, we're looking at, is this gonna be positive? Is this gonna be negative? So if that already makes you feel icky, then probably not for you. If you don't want to find out if something could potentially fail and you prefer to look at the ways you can better yourself, etc., but you don't want to ask like, am I gonna get a good holiday? Or is it gonna be raining every day and I'm gonna get bitten by mosquitoes and I'm gonna lose my suitcase? Then maybe you don't want to do predictive readings around your holiday, because these kind of decks will not be playing around. If it looks like at this moment in time your holiday could look like a total carnage, it's gonna tell you. But this is why I'm saying, like, you can have fun with predictive readings and not ask things that are too deep and too close to you. It's a nice way, like I was giving you the example of, for example, the reality TV and films, because at least it doesn't concern you directly, and it's still a fun way for you to hone in your intuition and develop that very predictive skill type of reading. So that was like very quick side note, because obviously Lenormand and Le Grand Lenormand are not technically oracle, they are more of their own system, but they still deserve their mention, of course, because they're great for fortune telling. Speaking of oracle, let's talk about the Sibylla. Obviously, any Sibylla is great for predictive reading. The one I have is Le Nouvel Oracle de Mademoiselle Lenormand, because we know Lenormand sells. As soon as you put Lenormand on a deck, it just gives that, ooh, I'm gonna tell your future. Even though most of the time she never actually created those decks. It's okay. This is La Sibylle des Salons. This is a reinterpretation of the Sibylla des Salons. It's been redrawn. So the cards have been redrawn in the style of Jaap de Boer, who is the creator. The original Sibylle des Salons was drawn by J.J. Granville, which a lot of you will be familiar with, and the original meanings of the card have been explained in this particular edition. Again, we have the original like 19th century meanings, and so of course this is not necessarily adapted to nowadays, and yet this is what makes Sibylla fun, I think. So this is another fun system I wanted to mention. Here are the backs of this one. Again, you can find this on amazon.fr. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description. There are a lot of Sibyllas out there. There's a Spanish one, there's some Italian one, of course, and then there's a few French ones out there, plus all of the evolutions of them, like the redrawn version, etc. Sibyllas is probably, as I have discovered this year, the rudest, meanest you may ever use. This is a beast, okay? If you don't want to know, don't ask. Truly. With a Sibylla, if you don't want to know, don't ask, because it's gonna tell you the tea. You want to find out the tea? Oh honey, it's gonna tell you the tea, honey. It will not spare your feelings. So if you are asking what's gonna happen at my job interview, it will have no shame from telling you it's gonna be a big ass failure, you're gonna suck, and you're not gonna get that job offer. For example. Or if you were to ask about a potential relationship, it might tell you, yes, you're gonna get married, it's gonna be wonderful. Or it's gonna tell you there's something else in the picture, he's gonna cheat on you, honey. The Sibylla is ruthless, but it is accurate AF. Really, truly accurate AF. However, approach with caution is what I would tell you. Approach with caution. If you want to have fun, if you want to go to the true predictive fortune telling style, I would say use the Sibylla. However, if you don't want to know about a certain thing, don't ask, or do like I said, ask about your favorite movie, ask about the book character you're reading. Just take care of your own well-being, I would say, and just remember that these are just cards, right? Again, it cannot assert the future, it cannot tell you exactly what's going to happen. However, from my own experience, even though death doesn't mean death, if I have found that if the Sibylla tells you something is not going to go well, chances are something is not going to go well. And if it tells you something is going to go well, chances are it will. That is what I'll say about the Sibylla. It's a deck that I've had a lot of fun with this year, but I'm also definitely need to be in the mood with, because I've been bitch slapped by it too many times. Let's move on. Okay, here is one of my favorite oracle decks for looking at the week ahead, months ahead, the energies, what could be happening, trying to do a little bit of a predictive reading. This is truly, here we're talking like top 3 for me. We have l'Oracle DCK, which is by Jean-Patrick Desconninck and Olivier Noël. I love this deck, and this is currently on the last print. They will not reprinting it. So normally I'm definitely not one to be like promoting FOMO and stuff. You do you, boo. I constantly tell you that in my videos, but I'm telling you as a deck lover, from me to you, that if you like this, don't wait, because they're on the last run, and once it's gone, it's gone. They're not gonna reprinting it because the publishing house is closing down, so they're selling their last copies, and then it will no longer be reprinting it. which is really sad because I enjoyed this publishing company. It was an indie creator. Here is the guidebook, and this is awesome because it's half in English, half in French. So for each of the cards, when you open, you can see you will have the meaning in French and you will have the meaning in English below. We love this one. This one is very popular in France. Like I said, it's from indie creators, and I'm really bummed out that it's going out of print, but I hope that if you enjoy this deck, that when you see this video, you're able to get your hands on it. So here are the backs. Not my favorite. I prefer plain backs without writing on it. If you watch my video, you know that, but I can forgive it. And this has a ton of cards. We're talking here 82. Love that so much. Thank you so much for giving us 82 cards. I'm a greedy bitch, so I love my decks with a lot of cards. And this one, like I was saying, is truly one of my favorite decks to use for predictive reading because it has no keywords and it talks about all sorts of things in life. We have some super cute cards and concepts that are more, I would say, emotional, spiritual, like freedom and all of that, but we also have things relating to very day-to-day matter like work and health and day-to-day life. And so this is truly fantastic. There's definitely a good variation of themes, of like depiction. We have light and shadow. We're talking about all different areas of life here, and I really love it. I use it a lot in my monthly pick a card. If you watch those, you've seen it in action for sure. It's beautiful. I love the illustration. I think it's gorgeously illustrated. I love the fact that there's no keyword because it really lets my intuition think. And this is one that's never out of reach. I would never part with it. Like I said, it's in my top 3 for divination because I've had so many wonderful readings with this. I love this one especially for pulling, like I pulled 3 cards, for example, for the months ahead, and then I look at the vibes and then I try and connect, and then at the end of the month I go back and I look, okay, did that come to pass? Did that not? What was that trying to tell me? And sometimes it's going to be surprising and sometimes it's going to be right on the money, but it's just a fun practice. This is great because it's not too threatening, it's not too like scary. You know, the Sibylla is that old grandmother that will literally doesn't give a shit if she hurts your feelings or not. She's just gonna tell you what's what. This one is more like an older sibling that you can go to for advice, that will tell you potentially what might or what might not happen, but maybe with a little bit more, I would say, forms, being a little bit more polite, being a little bit less in your face. And yeah, I really love this one. I'm just so bummed out that this is gonna be going away soon because everyone deserves this wonderful deck in their life. Let's talk about another bilingual, fantastic mass market oracle deck I use for divination, predictive reading, all of that. We have L'Horoscope Béline by Grimaud. This, again, mass market. You can find it on Amazon.fr. I'll leave it in the links below. French cartomancy as a whole, a lot of the original deck like l'Oracle de Béline, l'Oracle de la Triade are all decks that French people love for using for divination. I am an embarrassment to French readers because I don't like them. I don't like l'Oracle de la Triade. I don't really like l'Oracle de Béline. I don't even own it anymore. I'm sorry, I feel embarrassed and I'm probably gonna get cancelled from all of my French readers out there. But I'm just being honest and being myself. This, however, rules. I love this one. This is my favorite Béline adjacent deck. It is not l'Oracle de Béline, but it's inspired by the same creator, Major Arcana. So I like it. I like this one. And I wanted to present it to you specifically today because, as you can see, this is a bilingual oracle deck and all the keywords are both in English and in French. The guidebook is just in English, but honestly, I never really use the guidebook because this is super intuitive. Home, misfortune, the ideal, the fireside, business. What you see is what you get, right? We're looking at day-to-day life. Day-to-day matters, financial matters. You can use those kind of decks. You can use those kind of oracle decks. And this one is one of my favorite ones, like I was saying, predictive reading. I love the size. As you can see, it's slightly smaller. It's more like playing cards. I love the backs, they're super cute. I love the bright colors. I love the fact that there's keywords in English and French, because when I use it for my videos, even my non-French speakers can understand it. It's great. It talks about all sorts of things, legal matters, happy stuff, sad stuff, hard stuff, good stuff, life. This is life. This is life in all of its facets. Do you want to use this for self-development, journaling and all of that? Absolutely not. But is it super useful to have a deck like that in your collection to look at, like I was saying, what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen on that date, what's going to happen at your next job meeting, what's going to happen during this holiday, what is going to happen, I don't know, whatever you want to ask. This is the kind of deck I love to use. You could of course use a tarot deck, but I think there's something fun about using Oracle, because oftentimes Oracle takes away the hassle of also trying to understand what the cards are trying to tell you. You pull this, enchained. You don't have to think about it too much. You're being chained, honey. You're literally dragging a big old burden. That's what's happening. That's the tea. Where do you go from that? That's up to you. But you don't have to spend too long trying to figure out what the cards are telling you. I love that about this kind of deck, because they're very honest, very upfront. And like I said, I think for readings, it can be fun. So let's move on to this time a fully French mass market deck that is more modern, and that is one that I also really enjoy. This is l'Oracle de Lucie from the collection Soul Shadow. So this is created by Yena from Soul Shadow Tarot here on YouTube. She's a deck creator, she's a tarot reader, tarot teacher. She's awesome. I'll make sure to leave her channel down below, and she's created a few decks with Grimo as well as some indie decks on her own. This is part of the collection she created with Grimo Cartomancy, so you can find these ones on Amazon.fr. And this is an awesome little deck for, again, predictive reading style, which is what we're talking about here. Really, this is in the same vein as this for me, like they are equally good. It's gonna depend on whether you, what kind of imagery you prefer, I guess. More traditional is this one. If you want something more modern, then you're gonna want to go for this. First off, the backs, super cute. It doesn't come with a guidebook, but it comes with cards with lots of keywords, and you get a QR code as well that takes you to a video that Yena made that teaches you how to use a deck. It's all in French, but honestly I wanted to share it with you today because I think the images really truly speak for themselves. I don't think you need to be fluent in French to understand what's going on. The images are super intuitive, and so I wanted to share it with you, especially because it wouldn't be that hard to write the translation of the keyword here if you wanted to. So, and these are super affordable. They're like 12 euros, I think, the last time I checked. So I wanted to mention it because it's a great beginner-friendly, affordable first deck to get for like predictive readings type. Here we have moving, knowledge, liberation, rest, seduction, authenticity, love. I want to see more drag queens in my decks, please. I'm here for that. We have the challenge, excess, polyvalence, passion. Love to see a gamer too. We have pose, prayer, delay. As you can see, truly what you see on the card is the meaning of the card. It's super intuitive, super easy to read, and this is one I love to use again for months ahead, week ahead, looking at what could happen next 3 months, whatever. I also really love using this in my pick a card readings, months ahead readings type, because this is fun to look at the vibes, what could happen. And this is super colorful, super modern. So if you are a little bit wary and scared about the old school fortune telling oracle decks like the Sibylla, the Grand Lenormand, you know, l'Oracle de Béline, all of those that are looking more classical, they could feel a little bit more, I don't know, daunting, I guess is the word I'm looking for. This is great because it's definitely more, I don't want to say lighthearted because you definitely can do serious readings with this, but it's more colorful, it's more modern, it's more diverse. So I think it's like a nice one to open yourself up to the world of fortune telling without feeling like you have to go too occult, esoteric vibes, if that's not your thing. I hope I'm making sense. But even the fact that the money card has a debit card instead of coins and stuff, I don't know, it makes it super relatable to day-to-day life. So this is the last one in my top 3. Horoscope Berlin and the Oracle DCK. I would say these 3 are my most used personally, and for when I'm doing like pick a card or when I'm doing stuff for friends and stuff, these are usually the ones I use the most. Here is a super cool deck that I've been enjoying this year. It's not in my top 3 because I'm still getting to know it, but if you ask me again in a year or so, this could very likely jump into my top Oracle decks for divination because it's awesome. I just need a little bit more time, especially because this has so many cards. 100 cards. So this is the Breath of the Night Oracle. It's a Russian deck originally, and it is based on Lenormand, except there has been card added on top of the Lenormand. So the first 36 cards are Lenormand, and then there's been some cards added on top of that. I got mine on Etsy from a Ukrainian creator, which I will leave in the description box. And so as you can see on each of the cards, you will have the English keyword and you will have the Russian keyword. There is no printed guidebook, although the creator who I got it from has a PDF guidebook, which is great. This is 100 cards already, so chunky monkey, super glossy. So if you don't like glossy cardstock, don't even think about it, you're gonna hate it. Personally, I kind of live for it, this particular deck, because it's super big, super glossy, super impractical, and yet it's awesome. I love it. I really love it, and I've been really enjoying it this year. And it is, again, one that I think is so great for fortune telling because so many cards, so many subjects, heavier stuff, lighter stuff, darker stuff, lighter stuff, light and shadow, positive and negative, all areas of life. But the particularity of this one is that it's a little bit more witchy vibes, so not just in the imagery, which you can see is kind of like dark fantasy, dark fairy tale, witchy, but also in the archetype it uses. You can definitely use this for fortune telling, but it's gonna require to use your imagination a little bit more, and I love that. So whereas, for example, the one I was just sharing with you, l'Oracle de Lucie, was super like rooted in modern day and very clear, like money, we're talking about money, delay, we have a broken clock, right? Here, it's a little bit more intuitive, a little bit more asking you to tap into your intuition, less obvious in your face, and yet you can for sure use this for predictive readings, for like looking at the months ahead, what's gonna happen next, what are the vibes for this next chapter for me, all of that. This is great. Like I said, I'm still getting to know it, so I'm not like super comfortable putting it in my top 3 because all the other ones I feel very, very comfortable with, I feel very familiar with. This one is like we're still getting to know each other, but I love it. I think the artwork is gorgeous, witchy, Samhain vibes, but for me all year long, to be honest, I'm here for that. The first 36 cards are Lenormand based, so you could just take the first 36 card and make it and use that for Lenormand, and then add in the cards you want. This is the great thing about having a 100 card deck, is that you do you, boo. You create the deck you want. I've removed some cards that I didn't like, so for myself I did that, and you're welcome to use it the way you want. Again, this one doesn't play around. If it's gonna tell you you're being manipulated, this person doesn't have your best interest, you need to beware. It's gonna tell you. If you need to defend yourself and step up for yourself because you're being taken advantage of, it's gonna tell you. Like, this is one of those, again, that will not play around. It's gonna tell you the tea, but I love the fantasy twist of it all. And this one is definitely super versatile. Like, you don't have to use it for fortune telling, predictive reading. You could use it very archetypally, I think. You could use it for magic, communicating with your guides, things like that. I think this one is more versatile potentially than others, but for fortune telling, it's really fun, so I wanted to share it. And I should have said where I got it on Etsy. You could choose different size. I prefer my decks larger because I have big ogre hands, so I got it in tarot size. But if you have smaller hands, you can get it pocket size, like poker size and stuff like that. So definitely check that out if you are interested. Let's move on. Another great multilingual mass market oracle deck that works really well for predictive reading. We have l'Oracle Bleu, literally the blue oracle. There's a few editions of this one because in an old deck it's been reprinted lots of times. This is the edition I have by Grimo Cartomancy. I don't know if the box still come like that or anything, but it's definitely still out there, even though it might be in a different format. The guidebook is just in French. I'll show you in my edition anyway. It's just in French for each of the keywords. You get another few keywords, so nothing major. But the cards are actually in French, English, and Spanish, which is why I wanted to share it with you today, because I think that's awesome. Hopefully that covers most of you watching. French, English, Spanish, and this is another one that is fantastic for predictive reading, fortune telling, looking at what the energies are gonna be. Here are the backs, which I think are beautiful. And as the name suggests, l'Oracle Bleu, this is all in tones of blues. So I find the artwork very beautiful. I know some of you have commented on my video saying you find the artwork a little bit scary. I can understand that because it's definitely a little bit alien, I think. It's a little bit weird. This deck is truly a Marmite deck. Some people are gonna love it and some people are gonna hate it. Personally, I think it's super beautiful, but I can understand it's not everyone's cup of tea. I love this one because we have places, like we have a city card, a seaside, mountain. So if you're trying to locate something, it's really good. I don't know if we just passed it, but we have some elements cards which also have like astrological signs. Let's say your friend is single and they're asking you what is gonna be my next date like. I want to know who's gonna be my next date like. You could use this, and let's say you get the fire card, you could already think, okay, they might be Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, for example. There's lots of ways you can use this. You could use the sign for timing as well, like if someone asks you when is gonna be a good time for me to launch my business, and you get the fire card, but you also use like the numerology and everything, you can narrow it down to, okay, maybe Aries season or maybe Sagittarius season, etc, etc. Plus you have the season cards in here, you have autumn, spring, etc. So for timing it's great. I am doing a great job at explaining myself. My god, my vocabulary is really killing it today. I'm so sorry. I feel like I've lost half of my brain cells. If I sound more dumb than usual, I apologize. Trust me, I am as mad as you are about that. Anyway, this is great also for the variety of keywords we have. Like I was saying, with all of these, we have like lighter concepts, more shadow concepts, negative, positive, all of that. This kind of variation means that it's not going to be live, laugh, love. It's going to be more accurate, more truthful, and that is helpful for predictive readings, because life is not all pink and glitter, and when we're looking at the energies, when we're looking at what could happen, it's important to have a good variety of keywords and of cards that match the energy of life, right? Because we know life ain't just glitters and rainbows and butterflies. I mean, come through, Medusa wig. I live, and this is the low card. Yeah, it's fun. Have you ever seen a low card look like that? Not me. Let's move on. This is an indie French oracle deck, and then we move on to another English one. But what can I say? I told you I have more French options because French people, culturally speaking, are just more into predictive reading. Like, I feel like the English speaking tarot and oracle world was really big into self-development, personal development, and all of that, whereas a lot of the French oracle decks, even though we are also super into that, there's still a big root base of fortune telling, predictive reading type style. That's our bread and butter, I think, and that's what we have built our culture on in terms of cartomancy. So that's why I have more French decks. I'm sorry. Here is an indie oracle deck that is by a French creator. The oracle is called l'Oracle d'Or et d'Encre. This is by Émilie Dedieu. Émilie Dedieu is a illustrator and artist. She creates her own decks. She paints everything, like draws everything herself. I love what she does. I have a few of her decks, and I'm a big fan of her artwork, and this is one of her decks that I've used the most, and in terms of indie decks, they're probably some of the most affordable ones that I've ever purchased, to be honest. Super good prices, so we love that. And there's around 50 cards in this one, which is a great size, and on each of the cards you'll have one keyword. Again, it's in French, but I think it's fairly intuitive. Here we have solitude, here we have happiness, we have the ego, we have man and woman for the consultant, we have peace, we have wealth. Speaking of consultant, that's one thing I wish some of these decks was more like a, I guess, person card. But even though I do quite a bit of predictive readings for myself and I do them for my friends when they ask me because it's fun, I usually remove the consultant card because I don't know, I've never really like vibed with it personally. I don't really use it. I understand that some people need it, but for me it's never been a card that I'm like, oh yeah, I need a consultant card. Like, no, I don't really use like personificators and stuff like that, but I'd be interested to know if you guys use that or not. Interesting point. I think a lot of us have different ways of using them, or like me, a lot of us don't use them. So it'd be interesting to know if you use consultant cards in your readings or not. I understand that for like the Lenormand, for example, they are important if you're doing a grand tableau, but for decks like this one, I usually remove those cards. As you can see, the artwork, gorgeous. This is called l'Oracle d'Or et d'Encre, literally the Oracle of Ink and gold, because as you can see on each of the card we have some gold accent, and because this was drawn by ink. I adore Émilie de Dieu's artwork. This is one I'm using constantly in my monthly pick a card reading. If you watch those, you definitely have seen it. It's great to look at the energies of what's coming, the energies of the months ahead, the energies of the week ahead. Again, we have light and shadow, positive and negative, a good amount of cards, like 50 cards. I mean, come on, what's not to love? I adore this one. It's one, honestly, it should have potentially could be in my top 3. Let's make it a top 4. Top 4, and so I'm including this one. Of course, this is a popular choice. A lot of you have this, a lot of you love it, and for good reason. This is an awesome oracle deck for astrological reading, and I have found for fortune telling / predictive reading. This is a mass market deck, Oracle of the Radiant Sun by Caroline Smith and John Astrop. It comes with an awesome guidebook, which if you are trying to learn about doing your chart and doing astrology reading, is so great. This is really, really awesome. Potentially one of the decks I would recommend the most for if you are trying to learn astrology, because this is really cool. It has taught me a lot, even if you like remove the astrological aspect of it. For, like I was saying, predictive readings, because again, tons of cards. This is slightly smaller, it's more like poker size. Here are the backs. Tons of cards and great keyword. Fantastic for those of you who are into more historical type artwork, you know, more classical type artwork. Like this looks great with, for example, the traditional RWS. And of course, if you are into astrology, then it means that you can add layers to your predictive reading, because you can think about the astrological signs here. And again, that can help you date, that can help you time things, that can help you figure out the type of person you are dealing with, all sorts of stuff. You could be looking at transits here. There's just a lot to be done with this deck. I love that there's a chameleon, because I love chameleons, so that's one of my favorite cards. And overall, this is honestly 5-star. This is one of my oldest deck. It's rich, it's in depth. You can do a big study and use the guidebook and go really in depth, or you can take the cards out of the box, pull some cards and read from both the artwork and the keyword. And I love that versatility. I love the fact that you can do that. Like, you can go in depth and learn a lot, but you can also use this as face value and get a ton out of your reading. I've already just been given the Moon Oracle by the same creators. I'm super excited to get into that one. I think the Moon Oracle is maybe less predictive and a little bit more self-development. Might be wrong, I've not had a chance to fully like deep dive into it. If you have both, let me know how you use the Moon Oracle, if you think it's also good for predictive reading, fortune telling. This one definitely is awesome, and it's in English, it's been translated in French, French. For all of my French speakers out there, if you want the French version, it exists. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not been translated in other languages as well. We love to see it. The only thing I hate, the box. Hate boxes that make you split things in two, because I'm a dumbass. I can never make it work. So this is it, my friends. These were all of my favorite oracle decks for divination. I have a few more, but they're not my favorite, so I didn't want to share them today, because today it's all about my favorite. I don't want to burden you with some average meh choices. So you're just getting the top of the top, la crème de la crème. And honestly, all of my choices today, if I may say so myself, strong choices. Well done, Marine. Oh my god, I'm so full of shit. But yeah, I'm very happy with the ones I've shared with you today. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was a fun video. Now I would love to know in the comments, what are your favorite oracle decks for divination, for fortune telling, for looking at what could happen, for peeking through the veils of the future. Please let me know in the comments. Let's share for all of my fellow deck lovers out there. I want to thank you so much for being here. If you made it this far, oh my god, thank you for dealing with my chaotic energy today. I don't know what's getting into me, but yeah, the deck goblin was truly out. So thank you for bearing with me. Until my next video, I want to send you so much good vibes. Thank you for being here. I'm sending you all a big hug, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!